Hi everyone, it's Sunday, which means it's time for things that make you go, mmm. And here we are on a new day, a new time, a little bit earlier today because I'm going to be doing some painting later today. Let me just start my timer, which I forgot to do. One thing at a time, learning a little bit every week. I want to thank everybody who came last week. It was a little bit wonky, and we made it work, and recovered. So today, I'm hoping for a little bit of a smoother ride, less ums, less ands, and less so's. Gonna keep my eye on that one. And today we are going to talk about something that has always been very important to me and has become even more important to me as the years go by, because at first I didn't really know that it was important to me. Hola, mi amiga. Barbie is on, and Robert is on. Hi, Robert. Feel like I'm getting regulars already, and it's only my second week. And today we are going to be talking about being yourself and why that is important, why that is sexy, why that makes us go, because that's what our topic is always, things that make you go, And as I said, today's topic is being yourself, being you. Hi, Sam. We've got more men today than ladies. That's very cool. So things that make you go, and today is about being yourself. And why does that make us go, Well, very simply, when you meet someone who is truly themselves and yourself and themselves click, there's nothing better. It really does make you go, my God, this is good. Whether it's a friendship, romantic relationship, a working relationship, even just someone you pass by on the street, it all makes life better. It makes you feel really, really juicy. Hi, Gary. Yeah, now we've really got more men than women here today. This is pretty cool. I like being me too, Barbie Lee. There's no other way to be. One way that a lot of people, a big mistake that happens with a lot of people is that we try to be someone else because we think someone will like that better. And that is a huge, 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 huge mistake, because they might not like us any better when we're pretending to be someone else. So we may as well just be ourselves, and if they don't like us for ourselves, well then move on, because that's obviously not the right connection. So before I go any further, I want to share just a short snippet from my very first book. So most of you know that I recently wrote a romantic thriller or an erotic novel, depending on how you want to label it. But before that, I wrote a nonfiction book called The Bad Kitty Handbook. And the subtitle is A Journey Toward Authentic Female Sensuality. Now, we do have mostly guys on today. Hi, Deborah Joy. This my sister has just joined us. Hi, sis. And the beautiful Jen has joined us as well. So I'm just about to read from my nonfiction book, The Bad Kitty Handbook. This was a book that I wrote in conjunction with my speaking business. And my speaking business was all about authenticity. I called it sensuality because sensuality is about how you are and who you are in the world, which is also what makes us sexy. And so this was the book that that told the story that told my story, as well as the what's the word I want? The process of becoming more authentic and realizing who you really are. So I just want to read a little bit from the very, very first chapter. Once upon a time, I was a little girl. Actually, I was never very little. I've always been tall. I wasn't one of those kids who were small or even average, and then one day had a growth spurt. All through school, I was the kid in the middle of the back row of the school pictures and at the back of the room so that I wouldn't block anyone's view. I was never small, and I never wanted to be a girl. I wished and wished I was a boy. It appeared to me that boys were stronger, more respected, and had better lives overall than we put upon girls. It wasn't fair, so rather than being a weak, insignificant girl, I tried to be more like the boys. Hi, Angela. I'm just reading from my nonfiction book, The Bad Kitty Handbook, about being true to yourself. One example of how girls were perceived to be less than boys came to me in grade 3. My teacher was Mrs. Horseman, my favorite teacher in the school. I loved her because she was tall, beautiful, nice, and creative, and she had the word horse in her name, and I was a huge, huge, huge horse fan. We were reading a book about Mr. Muggs, the big shaggy sheepdog, going into space. We built a spaceship as part of the process. When we were done with that section, she asked who would like to take the spaceship home. A boy, who I had a crush on, and I both put our hands up, so she asked us to pick a number between 1 and 10. I was closest and so excited. Then Mrs. Horseman crushed my world and my opinion of her, and I'm sure many persons of authority to come, by saying, I'm going to give it to Mark because this is more a boy's toy. That clinched it. Being a girl sucked. I was also the child of a broken home and was constantly told how strong she was by her mother. I denied my femininity in order to be more like a man. I had to be the strong one. I couldn't show my feelings. And then it just continues from there, and I won't go into any more detail. But that gives you some insight into me and why I wasn't myself for a very, 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 very long time. Because I thought I needed to be someone else in order to be loved and accepted. And that made my relationship with myself fraught, made my relationship with others fraught, and just did not make my life very much fun. So when I say that being someone else for someone else's, being someone you're not for someone else's benefit, comes from a long history of experience. And it does not work. So if you really want to make yourself go and someone else go be who you really are, because that is what makes life exciting. I like to get myself a day-to-time calendar every year, and this year mine is You Are a Badass is the calendar, and this weekend oh, you can't see, it's too bright. The caption was Love Yourself, and it said, no matter who you really are. So I love that it has the word really in it, because it's easy. Oh yeah, I love myself as I am, but are you really seeing yourself for who you really are? Are you giving yourself true credit and really seeing all the details and the nuances of who you are? The Bad Kitty comes from, as I mentioned, my nonfiction is called The Bad Kitty Handbook. My new novel is called Serial Love, but the subtitle is The Bad Kitty Untethered. So Bad Kitty was the name of my speaking company, and the reason I used it was because cats are who they are. They don't care what you think, they don't care whether you like them or not, they just are who they are. And it's had an acronym as well. Beautiful, authentic, divine, completely individual, totally true you. Yes, you are a bad kitty too. And it doesn't matter who you are, what's important to you. What's important is that you be true to yourself. And we all have filters, we all have blind spots, we all have things that keep us from truly expressing who we are. But if we keep exploring, if we keep looking towards growth, those things will start to disappear, will start to fade away, and we'll really start to understand the deepest portions of ourselves. And I love this expression, you're either growing or you're dying. And because in nature, if something isn't growing, it's actually dying. And so if you want to be more who you are, more juicy, more sexy, more in love with yourself and the world and the other people around you, you need to keep growing and keep building that knowledge of yourself. And part of that is knowing what you want, especially when it comes to a relationship. As a single person right now, I really get that. You know, I need to be clear about what I need in a relationship, what I want, what my boundaries are, what's important to me. And because if I like someone and they don't follow it, they don't have those same priorities, or they have different priorities than I do, then it's not going to make me go, it's not going to make them go, either, because it's just going to fall apart really quick. So it's better to know right off the bat, and to set those boundaries, to set those intentions, and to know what's going to make it work for you. And part of that is knowing your core values. Now, there are probably dozens, hundreds of values you could possibly have. There's tests you can do, there's lists you can look at. Just a few right off the bat: dependability, reliability, commitment, consistency, honesty. I'm reading these off a list, obviously. Efficiency, innovation, creativity, sense of humor, like laughter, like we were talking about last week, a spirit of adventure, optimism, respect. There's just tons of them. And I know what my top 3 are. And they are integrity, authenticity, and compassion. And if someone doesn't match those core values, whether yours are similar to mine or completely different, doesn't matter. You need to know what yours are. And if someone you're interested in doesn't have those same values, then it's not going to work. Again, it's not going to make you go, it's not going to be sexy, it's not going to be exciting, it's not going to be juicy. Well, okay, it might be exciting for a little bit. I mean, you can have a really good, fun time with someone who doesn't match your core values. But if you want to create a relationship with that person, again, whether it's romantic or business or friendship, there needs to be a match in those values, at least to a very wide extent. I want to read, before I do that, I took a course a while back it was called Heart to Heart, and it was about communicating in a relationship. And I don't remember a lot about the exercises or much about the extent of the course. The one thing I do remember, though, and I've always thought of this anytime I get into a new relationship, is that each time we change the commitment level in a relationship, the relationship changes. So you start dating, you decide to get serious, you decide to move in together, you decide to get married, you decide to have children. All of those different levels creates a different level of security in the relationship. So we tend to change a little bit at each step of the way. So if you want to make sure, for example, you may know someone or have heard of someone who was in a live-in relationship for 20 years, and then they decided to get married, and then 2 years later they divorced. Like, why? It's because they got more comfortable in the relationship, and so they let down a few more barriers. They changed their boundaries, and things fell apart. So if you really truly know who you are, what you want, what your priorities are, what your boundaries are, you're not going to have as many of those changes as the relationship goes along. And it's going to be much more honest and real and ish all the way through. So we're almost done. And I want to read something, a couple more things that really, really resonate with me, and I hope they resonate with you as well. One of them is another from my calendar. You just love it how when you've got something on your mind, things just show up for you. And that's part of being who you are too. When you're true to who you are, you find what you need. And this is another little quote from the Badass Calendar. Your environment, and especially the people that surround you, or the people you surround yourself with, greatly affect how you perceive yourself and your world. The person you spend the most time with affects you the most. And the person you spend the most time with is ... you. Hence, what you tell yourself on a regular basis is muy importante. A little bit of Spanish there from my Mexican friend. So yeah, if you aren't, you are your most important person. And so you have to make yourself go, And you can't make yourself go, if you're not being true to yourself. Marianne Williamson is someone you may have heard of. She's a poet and a writer. And I love, love, love this quote. I always, it speaks to me so strongly and makes me a little verklempt. Because I was not myself for so long, because I was invisible for so long, because I hid for so long. And this is my reminder to not do that anymore. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful. Excuse me. See? Gets me. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are we not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Now, doesn't that make you go, So that's it for today. I want to remind you about the Bad Kitty Handbook and Serial Love, both available on Amazon. Also my website, thebadkitty.com. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for joining me for today. Please be you. Please do the work to understand who you really are so you can share your light with the world and make yourself and others go, Stay sexy, everyone. Happy Sunday.